Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome onto the podcast a man who we are big fans of. He's an SIU Saluki alumni, a Chicago guy through and through, and a member of Barstool Chicago, where he's a co-host on the Red Line podcast, and also hosts a daily podcast called the Chicago Dog Walk. You can find him on Twitter at Eddie Barstool. Eddie, thanks so much for coming on tonight. How you doing, my man?
Good, guys. Thanks for having me. Good, I should say. The best as I can do with how bad the Bears are, right?
That's what I was kind of like. I was so happy when Zach said you were coming on, but I'm like, you can't be feeling great.
No, it's definitely it's definitely not last year.
Definitely.
It's come and gone, absolutely. So yeah, it kind of sucks to be honest with you, but yeah, we're here, we're 3-4, and that's just the way it is, I guess.
Right, and we kind of talked about that too. Like, it does seem like very sky is falling, doom and gloom right now. But at the end of the day, like 3-4 is not mean you're out of it. Do you see any chance of hope that the Bears can somehow slide into like a wild card spot?
Not really, to be honest with you, man. I think there's something like if you start 3-4. You got a less than 20% chance.
Ooh.
Or just a little over 10% chance to make the playoffs. So, even just going, not even based on analytics, I just don't know. I just don't know if I see this team getting that much better. Because hypothetically, you got to win out or maybe lose one or two more games. And I don't know. I'm just not really, especially after that Saints game. And people forget the Chargers are really bad.
Yeah.
We just lost to them. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to say I throw in the towel because I'm going to watch, obviously, the last 9 games, but I would say that we are not going to make the playoffs.
At this point, we've seen both the good and bad from Mitch and Matt Nagy. Who do you think is more worrisome right now? I know Mitch, we can kind of get out of it in the next few years, but Matt Nagy, with his press conferences and stuff, was kind of shown that maybe he gets a little flustered. Does that have you worried for the next few years?
Yeah, I would say I'm more worried about Nagy because, look, Mitch is Mitch. He wasn't great last year. He was better, but now we kind of see what he is. We didn't see this type of character and the questionable play calling out of Nagy as much last year. So if you lose your quarterback and then if you don't have a head coach, then that probably means the GM is going along with them. And if all those 3 guys go, that means pretty much there's going to be a hard reset, which means a rebuild. And someone else comes, they're going to want their guys, and it could be a totally different ballgame. So. I would definitely say I'm more worried about Nagy at this point.
Absolutely. So do you blame most of what is happening right now? Do you think it's more on the play calling than it is on anything, or is it Mitch? Is it the running game? What do you contribute the most to the struggling of the Bears offense right now?
Yeah, I'd probably split it between Mitch and Nagy because at the end of the day, if Mitch hits some of those throws, we're probably not 3-4, right? We lost one game 10-3. So we lost by a touchdown in one game. We lost yesterday by 1. Obviously, we got blown out by the Saints, and then the Chase Daniel game. Who knows? Obviously, Mitch didn't play, but it could be a different ball game. But as far as the play calling, it's just been very head scratching, especially yesterday with the 45 seconds and deciding to settle for a 41-yarder. So once again, I don't want to throw it on either of their shoulders, but it's probably more Mitch, obviously, but Nagy has his fair share of blame too, I'd say.
There's a lot of confusion in his press conference. Like he says, we don't want to run the ball because they know you're going to run the ball, so you're going to lose 2 to 3 or maybe 4 yards on that. But when you kneel the ball, you lose 1 to 2 yards anyways. I just didn't get his logic around the whole 1,000 out of 1,000 times I'm going to do that exact same thing.
Yeah, then he said even before the speak, before Trubisky's run, that we were in field goal range in general. So what's he talking about taking a sack? If we were in range anyways, So I don't know, it was weird. It was even weirder how he decided to go about it and kind of fake laugh at the media, and he handled it pretty poorly, I'd say. So
I would think as the players in the locker room, you hear your coach worried about you fumbling on a play like that. That kind of would make me not think that my coach had any trust in us.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, I think. I don't know how they took that, to be honest with you. It seems like most of those guys don't give a crap about what the media has to say, because how many times they've dodged them and everything. But you bring up a good point for sure.
On another related note, Eddie, who do you got in the NFC title game? We actually had this discussion a little bit earlier. Do you have a prediction right now as to who we might see out of the NFC in the title game this year?
I don't know. The Niners look like a wagon right now, right?
Definitely. I think so, too. Put up 51 yesterday, covered the over on their own.
Yeah, that's pretty damn impressive. Packers look great, unfortunately. The Vikings made a little bit of a resurgence, which is interesting. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. We'll see. Obviously, maybe Drew Brees, he's got one more kind of stashed in him, but I don't know. There's a lot of good teams. It's still, we're halfway done, and it's still almost too early to tell,
Absolutely.
Because some of these teams are going to fall off as well.
Oh, 100%. I think, and then you look at the NFC East, and we were talking about, there's no one there that strikes fear in the eyes of anybody. It could come down to a couple teams in the same division, and the West and the North, I feel, are just loaded with talent. And then you have, the East is not. It just doesn't look that good. So, what about the AFC? Obviously, I think the Patriots are probably the most obvious pick. But do you see anybody else out of the AFC?
I gotta be honest. I don't know how anyone can say anybody else besides the Patriots.
Yeah.
Right now, you've always knew their offense can get it done, but the defense is playing on a skill level. So I don't even want to go there, to be honest with you, because I don't see anybody holding a candle to them right now.
Absolutely. I was kind of thinking that last night while we were sitting around watching the game, because the Chiefs are kind of falling apart. It's
and for your sake, Eddie, I know I love listening to Eddie Mondays. We don't need any audio of you saying anything against the Patriots for Dave to have any ammo against you.
I appreciate that. So he knows what he's got for sure, and he doesn't. He's not afraid to tell you, that's for sure.
And the bad thing is it's always backed up. That's the problem. It's every time it's backed up with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Just never ends.
Never ends. But I just seen that the Bulls have come to an end. They just lost to the Knicks, unfortunately.
The Bulls lost to the Knicks tonight?
It looked like they had it in the bag at first. Do you have any expectations for the Bulls this year?
Honestly, I don't, which I think is great because I still think they're fun. Which I know kind of coincides, but it's like I don't have any. I don't know. Like coming into the season with the Bears, we had so many expectations, and it kind of ruined everything.
Yeah.
Because that's making the season that much harder to bear. But just knowing that there was no expectation of the Bulls and how young they are and how fun they are, stepping into this roster in the league. So I'm just having a fun time watching them. They're going to struggle, and who knows? Maybe they'll sneak an 8 seed, but even if they don't, then it's. I think they're doing some good things over there, though. I
agree. It's so weird. I look back like a year ago from now and how down in the dumps we were about the Bulls, and now it's like, yeah, they lost a couple games early, but it almost feels like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope for the future, which I think makes you feel a little bit better. But getting into your podcast, Eddie, I got to tell you, man, I literally download and listen to Dog Walk every day. So I got to ask you, where did the idea come to you? To do something like that, a daily podcast just about life in Chicago and people in Chicago. What was the logic behind that?
You know what, man? When we went full time January 1st, they gave us a Chicago podcast, and they said they wanted it to be daily, 10 to 15, 20 minutes. They gave me the format, and they put me in charge of being the one to run it. And that's a great thing about Barstool, they kind of just gave you a blank slate. Mm-hmm. So I could have done whatever I wanted with the show. But I don't know, I've always just been someone who just been curious about everything. That's just kind of who I am. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, how does he pretend to be so curious? And it's not pretending at all. Like, I just genuinely, if I see someone walking down the street and they're wearing something funky or they're doing something weird, I'm just always been that person to be like, hey, I'm not afraid to ask, what is that, dude? So
that's awesome.
That's kind of been the inspiration, I guess.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite episode or a favorite interview that you've ever done on the show?
You know what? I think some of these people have been so good, And, now that the year's coming to an end, I've been kind of thinking about that. I don't know if I have an answer yet, to be honest with you. What's your favorite? How about that?
Okay.
Mine's the guy who run the bowling store with the bowling ball.
That was amazing.
It was just the way, because the way he's just so genuine. It was just everything was just so real with the guy. Like when he picked up the phone in the middle because he told you that work keeps moving. I'm going to do the interview, but work's going to keep moving. And just the genuine love for bowling ball, which is just not a lot of, what did you say, 2 stores in the whole city?
Yeah, there's only 2. There's one on the north side, one on the south side. He was great, man. That guy was no joke. He was, it was all business.
All right, my favorite was, I can't remember, and now this is going to be bad because it was my favorite, but I don't remember if he was a mailman or a UPS man, and I know you had both, but it was the guy who talked about, like, walking into the house and the ladies with their robes open, and he had, like, thickest accent, like the thickest Chicago accent you could imagine. That guy was so funny.
Yeah, that was the UPS guy.
Yes.
He was great.
Oh, he, like... It reminded, like, if Doug Heffernan from King of Queens in, like, 40 years did a podcast, that's exactly what he would be like, but with a Chicago accent.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's my dad's good buddy. It was like, that must have been a week 2 or 3 of the show. Still at that point, I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. I just kind of texted my dad's buddy to see, kind of, hey, let's talk about UPS, and, that's kind of how it went.
Last week was a little weird with the dominatrix. That was
wild.
A little
That
wild.
was wild.
Were you comfortable? Like, did you ever get uncomfortable during that one?
You know what? I just kind of come from, I don't know, I guess a setting like with buddies and with whoever where I'm pretty comfortable with whatever. It's kind of hard to phase me in that aspect, but there was definitely some jaw-dropping stuff that those girls had to say.
Definitely.
I'm not comfortable that people like that exist in this world.
When she said something about selling her panties, the video of your face was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the guys who are doing that.
That is like the guy who it was one of the ladies was the guy at the Bean, right? Getting the dog walked around. That's just crazy
so
that you're
weird.
Doing that in front of so many people. That's just insane, I think.
Oh, that's
crazy.
And hey, we've had Chief on the podcast before, and me and Zach were talking about this before we went on. He's like, I'm a big conspiracy theory guy. I love, government and politics and stuff. So you guys in your Tinfoil Tuesdays are usually the 2 best of the week. 2 of the best podcasts I listen to. So you and Chief keep those up, man. Those are great.
Sweet, thanks, man. I'm happy you enjoy them. We're definitely happy that we got kind of a little niche there on Tuesday, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, hey, man, we hope things get better. With the Bears, I feel like I said earlier, they're 3-4, but I just don't know if you count them out just yet. There's still to me, there's this weird glimmer of hope, and I think it's probably because the defense is so good. But I don't know, man. I hope things get better.
Yeah, listen, if you want to be hopeful, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being hopeful, so, be hopeful.
At this point, that's all we got for the Bears. But real quick, I know you're a Cub fan. What do you think of David Ross, the hiring?
I love the presser today. I love what Theo had to say about him. I think he's going to bring kind of an attitude where it's like he might be not the sternest cat in the room, but he's going to be a guy you don't want to disappoint,
Right.
Yeah, because like you said,
I think that's equally as important.
A lot of those guys are actually friends with him and have a real relationship. You wouldn't want to let down somebody like that, especially because they know what's at stake for him. This is his first chance, and if it goes bad, it could be his last chance.
Exactly. You're exactly right. And I think, he doesn't want to fail. No one wants to fail in life, right? So He's coming there. He took that job with the intent of winning, and I think he's going to do his best, and I think he's going to make sure he puts it in, the best possible position to win for the Cubs. So
I agree, man. I just hope they can fix the bullpen. We talked about this at length.
I'm not really worried about the hiring of the coach. I'm more worried about the players on the field next year.
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see what. I got a feeling Theo's going to shake it up pretty good, so we'll see.
That's what I like to hear, man. That's what I love to hear. So like we said, follow Eddie at Eddie Barstool. We got into it a little bit. Check out Chicago Dog Walk, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, right, Eddie?
Yes. Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, every Google Play, wherever you can find podcasts.
And didn't you just start recently doing the videos? Don't you tape it every day and put it on YouTube? Is that
it's like
that
7
correct?
at night, right, when it comes out?
Yeah, check out the Barstool Chicago YouTube. Check out the site. I upload it to the site at night. Speaking of which, I got to go do that tonight at some point. But yeah, check those out for sure, too.
Well, we'll let you get to that. Thanks so much for coming on, man. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Good luck with the show. I know how it is to kind of be in the basement right there like you guys are.
Absolutely.
Just keep grinding away and making things happen, man. So I'm happy to do it. I know you guys have been hitting me up for a while, so it's great to be on.
Absolutely, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Yep, you too, man.